Consumers are very excited about hybrid. They ask a lot of questions. They're engaged. That fear factor has gone away. And when you look at what the average commute is versus what the average hybrid engine could put out in just an electric mode, that meets most everyone's commuting needs.
Welcome to EV Insider by Recurrent, where we make it easier to buy and sell electric cars by giving you access to leaders from across the industry. Let's get started.
I'm Tim Pohanka. I'm an executive vice president for the Pohanka Automotive Group. We're one of the oldest dealership groups that are still family owned in the country. So we're 106 years young. I've been in the business since, well, actually for 33 years, since 1992. And right now, I currently run 3 of our dealerships in the Fredericksburg area.
So one of the big shifts, I would say like the biggest shift of the last 100 years in the auto industry is kind of going from the combustion engine car to the electric vehicle. Do you feel like it's accurate to say that is like the biggest thing in the last 100 years? Or like given like as you go back generations in your family, do you feel like you've faced something like this shift in the industry or with your business before?
Well, my great grandfather, who founded the company, was a horse jockey at the turn of the century.
Okay, so you
And,
went horses to
yeah. So
okay.
he
I'd
led
say
the charge from horses to the combustion engine.
okay,
Our
that's as big
first
of a deal.
dealership shop was actually in an old horse stable.
Oh my
So
God.
when you start to look at how the industry has changed, is EV the biggest change? I don't know. You've got people who tell you that the fax machine was a big deal, that computers were a big deal, the internet was the big deal, COVID was the big deal, cash for clunkers. I think that EV is a shift in the car industry. I don't think it's a seismic change to it. I think a lot of people have tried to make it out to be. Um, if a car is powered by gas, if it's powered by electricity, if it's powered by hydrogen, is it really a shift? I mean, it's just a change in how the powertrain is.
But it is certainly a disruptive change that's causing a lot of like just I think business challenges across the board as this shift happens. Are there any general lessons that you kind of can take from all those previous changes that inform your strategy for this one?
As people start to learn about a product, they start to gain interest in it, and they start to become believers in it. And I think that we've seen that with hybrid technology. People are really buying into hybrid technology, and in some cases, long before it was, it wasn't an economic decision. The hybrids were still more expensive. The payback was longer over time, but they did it because it made them feel good. It did save on fuel. It was a new technology that came out there. And the same situation can happen for us with EV. And as people start to realize that trips are easier, that it's not a big deal, or hey, I'm going to plan a 500-mile trip. Maybe I'm going to go rent a car and just leave my EV at home. How that fits in your lifestyle is out there. So I think the lessons would be is that there's nothing to fear. I mean, you could still get to where you're going to go. It's, how do you bring this into your own daily life?
Yeah. But I guess, in the Mid-Atlantic area, the DC area in particular is a really hot market for EVs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every dealer in the DC area is, going to be leaning in. And so I guess I wonder, like, within your market, do you feel like you're pushing forward, or are you sort of like about average, in terms of who you're serving?
I mean, again, it does go back to the consumer. We do have people in this market who would want an EV, and we're more than happy to be there for them. I mean, we've got 3 fast chargers at our dealership. Both of our shuttle vehicles are electric vehicles. I was driving an electric vehicle for a while. So, in terms of an adoption from dealers around our area, I think everyone's in on selling EVs. I don't think anyone's not in the Mid Atlantic region. It's just how far the adoption can be. The EV vehicle is more expensive. Until we get a more economical one, how far can that adoption go? The interesting thing will be there's a litany of leased EVs getting ready to come off market. And how well will those be received on the pre-owned side? And that to me is going to be the interesting part, because that will be the first time that an affordable EV could then go to people who could not afford the original one. So that it becomes a little bit more of a mass market opportunity. That's going to be an interesting shift to see how many people say, "Hey, I'm interested in trying this, and
Yeah.
now it's affordable for me."
Yeah, at $20,000 or at $18,000, it does feel like there is an awful lot of demand there. So is that part of your strategy for next year? Is to sort of like go harder at that used EV sector?
It'll be interesting to see if you've got a $20,000 entry level ICE vehicle sitting next to a $20,000 EV that was originally 55,000, where someone's head will fall.
Yeah.
These are nice vehicles. I mean, if they're driving in the range that they need to, and it can do what they want, I think it plays a good part in the strategy. Really, hybrid has really got us very excited.
Yeah.
Um, Consumers are very excited about hybrid. They ask a lot of questions. They're engaged. That fear factor has gone away. And when you look at what the average commute is versus what the average hybrid engine could put out in just an electric mode, that meets most everyone's commuting needs. And if that's doing that, the beauty is that that does solve some of our concerns about environmentally and for what an EV can do.
One of the stories this year has been the number of plug-in hybrids. I think it just like it continues to exceed over the last couple of years, exceed forecasts. And so I wonder if you feel like that's sort of a theme for you next year, is like that's the compromise. It's, hey, I'm not quite ready for a battery electric, but also don't want a full gas car. Do you feel like that's a sweet spot for you on the new side next year?
I think that's the sweet spot for most people. I really think that when you look at production for OEMs, which is the most important thing, OEMs cannot move production on a dime. An EV is different than an ICE vehicle. You just can't put an ICE powertrain in an EV, and you can't put an EV powertrain in an ICE car. So, well, you can, but it's a lengthy conversion
Right,
process.
right, right.
So a hybrid is really an opportunity to save on rare earth minerals, save on size of battery, provide consumers with a product that they're more likely to trust, give them the security in having an ice backup if they needed it. I think and I think it can solve a lot of the environmental concerns and a lot of the infrastructure concerns that we have, and allow for a gradual increase in EV. I mean, again, I love the EV I drove. I had an Aria for a year,
I was
and
wondering, I was gonna ask, yeah, okay.
yeah, I absolutely loved driving my Aria.
Yeah,
Drove it in the snow, drove it in the sun, drove it all over the place. Had great pickup. It was phenomenal, comfortable, quiet. I mean, you don't realize how much road noise plays a part in making you tired. It was just a great vehicle to drive. So
yeah,
the EV will have a place. It's just where
yeah,
in that product
yeah.
offering.
Speaking of the Aria, though, it's going away for 2026. I'm super bummed because I thought it was a very cool car. Do you feel like the new Leaf kind of it's feels a little bigger? I mean, does that really take the place of the Aria in the
Well, the Aria is
2026?
only going away from the U.S. production.
Oh, okay.
It's still going to be sold overseas. So it's not going away. Nissan's not going away from it. They're just putting more of their resources to the Leaf, which is a less expensive price point
Yeah,
vehicle.
yeah.
And I think that's a good idea. I think
Okay.
uh, affordability concerns are big, and anytime you can offer that affordable solution, and I think that's the way to go for Nissan right now. And we're excited about that. But again, Aria is not going away. Nissan will have that technology in the wings. It's
Okay.
not disappearing altogether.
And they'll bring it back at some point, presumably.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, I got a chance to sit and drive in a 2026 Leaf, and my impression was like, oh, I see the upgrade to the 2026 Leaf. It basically sort of it felt like the Aria. Honestly, I mean, I know it's not quite as big, but that felt that way to me. So I don't know if it's accurate or not.
It's designed to be more than what it was before, which was more of a hatchbacky type of feel. It had a little bit different of a look. Now it's more of a mainstream vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So very excited about the opportunity for that.
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys gonna like? Do you know how many you're getting? Are you gonna get? I mean, that feels like the what I've heard is that they have very limited supplies. I mean, do you feel like they're gonna be able to deliver enough to you to meet your local demand?
I believe they will. I mean, Nissan has never really had an issue with underproduction of a vehicle, so I think that that would be easy. Obviously, states in the on the west will get them first, or they'll have a bigger opportunity. When you look at Colorado, when you look at Washington State, those are hotbeds, true hotbeds for EV product. But we'll get our share.
Yeah.
We've gotten a few.
As there are a lot of things we don't know going into 2026 about where the EV market goes. I mean, lots, right? Are there one or two things that you think like, gosh, I can set my watch by? I know this is going to happen. Maybe nothing, but is there anything that you think about?
Affordability is going to be the big thing that I will set my watch to. We have to find ways to get the price affordable, and it can't be just stretching terms out. You've got the cars have got to become more affordable.
For my money, I feel like the rise of there's like $35,000 300-mile electric range. That feels like, and there's more and more of those coming out. The Leaf certainly falls into that now. The 2026 Leaf. When as we get to those, that really feels like really pretty rapid adoption. I mean, the Equinox was, I would say, the runaway hit this year, and it's sort of right in that price range, 35 to 40 and 300 miles electric range. So feels like if we can get some more of those next year.
But it goes back to the affordability. A consumer has to be able to afford it. At $60,000, that's almost $800 a month. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And when you look at two cars, families with dual incomes, that's still a lot of money. I don't think a lot of people, not a lot of people can afford that. When you look at their monthly budgets, when we talk to people, they're still targeting that $400 a month payment, 400, 450. It's a big step. So getting those cars in that affordable range, that's going to be a big deal. And there's a lot of talk about, oh, it's autonomous, it's semi-autonomous, it's this. Again, that's great for the percent that wants them, but for mass adoption, at the end of the day, my car could drive itself, but if I can't afford to drive it, it doesn't matter.
It's $400 of autonomous driving or $400 of whatever, basically. Yeah. Gotcha. Tim, thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you, and cool little conversation. So thanks.
Thank you for having me. And one thing I'll go back and say this, and it's important. Dealers are not the enemy for an EV. I've yet to find a dealer that I've spoken to across this country that's like, oh, I don't like EV. And so that's one thing. If I could get one, myth dispelled, it would be dealers are definitely on board with EV. We just want to make sure the consumers are able to bring that into their lifestyle. And however we get that EV into their lifestyle, that's the most important thing.
Thanks for joining this episode of EV Insider. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.